YouTube, it's Baker. Welcome back to Blue Line Morphs, guys. I hope everybody's doing absolutely fantastic. I know we've been super inconsistent with posting shit on YouTube, and I apologize for that, guys. I'm trying to get into the swing of things, stop being lazy, etc., etc., especially with the new work schedule. I'm going back to steady Saturdays, Sundays off, which is phenomenal because although I like having 3 day swings, 3 days off, because cops work 5 on, 2 off, 5 on, 3 off in my department. It's nice having those 3 day swings. And it's nice rotating through the week and having like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off, for example. However, it is very difficult to get on a steady routine. In other words, sometimes when it's my quote-unquote weekend, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, you know? So I'm very happy to have a steady schedule now where I can get in a routine, crank out some nice content, really focus and buckle down on my snakes, so forth and so on. So today's video, guys, I kind of want to talk about the current market, the reptile community, and maybe the downfall of reptile keeping in general and what we can do about it, all right? At least in my opinion. But first, before we get into that, talk about some of the pairings we did this week, guys. Listen, we have no dice still with our pastel redhead het clown. That is right there sitting on top of our OD vanilla clown female. He still has not got the job done, and unfortunately, if he keeps this up, he's gonna be replaced in the project by this boy right here. This is our Confusion Clown, guys. He's an absolute beast. We picked it from Empire Steaks Lounge. Our boy Joe, chilling in Aruba right now. And he, although they're not locked up right now, he did lock up with this girl, okay? Very happy about that. She's looking a little frisky. That's our Gotham girl. So we got a Confusion Clown bred to our Banana Leopard Clown, all right? That was a confirmed lock. I'm gonna pull him out in a second. Up top over here, guys, still no dice with this guy right here. That's our Yellow Belly Paint to this girl right here. We ultrasounded her a couple days ago. She said 13 millimeter follicles. So I was really hoping he was going to get the job done. Still no dice. All right, guys, we're going to keep plugging along here. And for whatever reason, this is our pastel banana entry pod. That was, of course, bred. That's a holdback we created. That was bred to this girl right here, Eve, who is definitely cool seeking, which is phenomenal. Very, very happy about that. She was at 18 millimeter follicles last week or whatever it was ago. Means we're going to get the first blue on blue crime, all right? With that being said, he is still not locking with this cinnamon pie girl, guys. I really want them to lock so we can figure out why we had that shark mouth clutch. We'll keep going, keep going. For some reason, I picked up these two girls. My boy Aaron, little Leo, right there. Picked up these two girls, rather, two proven breeder pied girls, and they do not like our Aussie pied boy. Not the best thing in the world, but we're going to keep trying, and hopefully he gets it done. He wants it, but I don't think she wants it. All right, guys? Let's keep it moving so I can keep you guys updated. Then, of course, we brought... Jesus, guys, what'd you guys do to this thing? That, of course, is Big Mama. Big Mama Donna, named after my mom, right? And they have made a mess of their water bowl. And, of course, we're still breeding him to her to that boy right there. It's that pastel OD Fire, black pastel, Enchi Mojave. Something we created last season trying to prove out what's in them. Then right here, we got them. Be quiet, watch. These two got a final lock. You know, next to final lock in, that's our clown pied to our normal double head. Pretty happy about that pairing. And this boy still doesn't quite know what he's doing, which is really a shame because that's making me a little nervous. He's about a year old now, 700 grams. And that, of course, is our ODYB Fire Leopard Pied Het Clown. And sit on top of our pastel clown pied breeder female. So those are the locks. Those are the pairings for this week, guys. They got to figure their shit out, these young males. With that being said, let me get set up and kind of talk about the status and state of the reptile industry, and if it's collapsing, my opinion on it, what we can do to quote-unquote fight it and strive on. Guys, so we got the tripod set up. Old school, we used to film, all right, guys? We're getting back in the swing of things. Very happy about that. Give you guys a quick update what's going on over here at Blue Line Morphs. And listen, if you're following this channel, if you're in the Patreon, if you're in the Instagram, if you follow us on anything, you follow any other reptile breeders, keepers, enthusiasts, etc., then you're very much aware of the fact that the ball python market and the reptile market is kind of in the shitter. You know, along with the stock market, everything else going on in Biden's America, but that's neither here nor there. But I kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit, what we can do to kind of combat that, stay in the industry, stay in the hobby, so forth and so on, guys. Listen, if you're in this industry and you're breeding snakes or reptiles and you don't want to make a little money, you're a liar. I've been over this a million times. I don't think there's any shame in having a hobby that you love and making a little extra cash on the side, or have it be your primary function and your primary source of income, so forth and so on. I think there's no reason for that. And I think a lot of the panic that's going on right now is a lot of people got into the industry. Like guys like myself, or Gomez came back into it, or Shane from Small Town. All of us kind of got into it about a year or so before COVID. And once COVID hit, the market exploded because a lot of people were kind of sitting at home, right? A lot of people had a lot of extra cash, so forth and so on. And they were getting into the market. They saw people like Miguel and Ozzy and Billy making a decent amount of money off breeding snakes. Like, you know what? I'm home now. Let's get into this, make some quick money, which I get, I respect. I'm all about the hustle myself. But I think there's a big difference between people that got into it primarily to make money and people that got into it that love snakes and reptiles, been doing it for a long time and decided to turn their hobby into a business that they can love, okay? That being said, now that the market is going down a lot, right? Even in my 4 or 5 years, 4 years of breeding, take a look behind me, well, behind you, well, the camera. There's a couple of Coral Glow combos. Yeah, nothing crazy, guys, right? Black pastel Coral Glows, pastel, Pastavi Coral Glows, stuff like that. That a season ago I was selling for $300, $350, like that. And now you got people listening for $180. People are freaking out, right? Because they dumped a lot of money into this hobby without actually having the love of the hobby. Okay, so now they're freaking out. The money's potentially been cut in half or cut by a third, whatever the case may be. And a lot of people are getting out of the hobby, and people are panicking. First and foremost, I have had conversations with a lot of very much more experienced breeders than myself. Diesel. And they've all kind of said the same thing. This happens, right? This happens in the hobby, the industry, so forth and so on. You have an influx. Essentially what happens is this. New people get into the hobby, start breeding, maybe don't have reptile experience, so forth and so on. And what happens is they see the quick buck, they get into it, the market gets flooded with animals, kind of goes downhill, they panic, they sell their collections off, which means what for us, right? People that are in this for the long haul, people that have been breeding. I haven't been breeding my whole life. I've been keeping reptiles since I was a kid. What does that mean for us? It's like buying stocks. Stock market's in the shitter now. All that means it's on sale, baby, okay? So these people will be getting out of the hobby and getting rid of their collections. And that's okay. That's fine. Because the market's flooded with animals right now, and that's okay too, okay? I have no problem. I always look at, before we even talk about this, listen, if I bred an animal, and when I bought to get into the project, the animal was $3,000, and now I'm selling the animal for $1,400, it's still $1,400 and you're still making somebody's day, and somebody still is willing to give their hard-earned cash for an animal you created, and that's pretty badass to me. That's not the end of the world. For example, I listed pastel, OD, lesser, leopard, yellow belly, I think. Pastel, OD, lesser, yellow leopard, possible yellow belly, double het, cinnamon, double het, clown pie, female, okay? Listed her originally when she first hatched out for $2,750. Lower to 25, lower to 2250, lower to 2, and eventually my buddy Nick, Lightning Morphs, and actually in our Patreon, it's like, yo, I really want him. So I ended up giving him to her $1,500. Gone. It's still $1,500. Now, a year and a half ago, was an animal worth $2,500, maybe $3,000? 100%. It's still $1,500 and helping my buddy out, a guy that supports the Patreon, the channel, so forth and so on. Not the end of the world. But let's get into a few things. One, I want to talk about something, just kind of common sense, right? A lot of people are like, oh, Batmans have gone downhill, big time, blah, blah, blah. I'm just using these genetics as an example. You can apply that to multitude of different genetics and animals, so forth and so on. But let's say, for example, don't quote me on the exact numbers, but let's say a Batman 2-3 years ago was $4,000 to $5,000, right? And you wanted to buy into that project, you bought animals to raise up, and now 3 years later, you're finally producing Batmans, and you're upset that now they're selling for $1,800, $2,000, $2,500. Well, first and foremost, guys, if you think that an animal you purchased 3-4 years ago and people start breeding and making more of them, it's not going to go down in price, well, shame on you, plan better. But what we can do is stack it, right? In other words, my buddy Al invested in the business for the Stranger Leopard Clown, right? We spent a lot of money on him, and my buddy made a comment like, oh, don't just make Stranger Clowns, right? Because the market's getting flooded with them. No, correct. Spent a lot of money on Stranger Leopard Clowns. What am I putting them to? A bunch of high-end other females, right? Because if you like Strangers or you like Batmans, yes, when you start producing them, they're not going to be worth as much as they were originally, but now you have to stack the genes on top of it, and that is the name of the game, right? So instead of producing a Batman, now I produce an ODYB Batman, Cinnamon Batman, Stranger Batman, right? Instead of producing just a Stranger Leopard Clown, let's produce a Stranger ODYB Fire Stranger Clown, right? So forth and so on. But more importantly, if you're still here for this rant, this is probably the most important part of what I want to convey and speak about, and that's this, guys. If you're in this hobby, in this industry, it's because it's exactly that. It is a hobby and an industry. It is a hobby, sorry. And I come in here, and I love being in here. I got my two ding-dongs. All right, Shelby's over there. She's pissed at being here. It's too hot for her. And Diesel's actually sleeping for a change, which is unbelievable. But it is a hobby. Now, I have participated in many hobbies, right? Powerlifting, cars, so forth and so on. And a lot of people that are in these hobbies dump money into their hobbies and get nothing out of it, okay? And they're perfectly happy with that. My dad has dumped $50,000, $60,000 into his 31 Chevy Coupe, right? He has not got a fucking cent out of it. And he loves it just as much as when he first started dumping money into it, okay? Same thing with ball pythons, guys, or reptile keeping in general. Yes, it is really nice to make a couple extra dollars in a hobby you love. I'm sure if my dad could have somebody take pictures of his coop, have some hot chick next to it, dressed up like a pinup doll, right? Whatever, a hot guy, whatever you want, right? And he can make money selling pictures like that, 100% he would do it. And we're fortunate enough in this industry to be able to do that. But just because the market's down now doesn't mean you're still not profiting or making a couple extra dollars off the animals you're creating. And even if you're not making a fucking penny, then enjoy the hobby for what it is. So if there is a lull in the community, if there's a lull, never a lull in the community, right? All the drama going on right now. If there's a lull in the market and the pricing and so forth and so on of reptiles and ball pythons, what do we do to combat that? Really simple. Enjoy your fucking hobby. Come in here, weigh snakes, ultrasound them, plan for the future. Maybe cut back on breeding a little bit, okay? Which I'll talk about in another video where how I've changed my breeding plans to kind of combat what's going on here, right? Enjoy the hobby. Like I said, weigh the snakes, ultrasound, feed them. Come in here and just hang out to get away from the missus. That's what I do. Sometimes she's bitching, and I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go sit 81 degree weather and just sit here and watch TV, right? Right? I have nothing to do in here, but guess what? I can come in here and hang out in my quote-unquote facility, my man cave, so forth and so on, guys. So that's what we can do to combat the lull in the market and the pricing. Enjoy your hobby. Get back to the roots. Understand that you got into this, sure, to make a couple extra dollars, but you got into this because you love reptiles, okay? Now, for me, the main reason why I chose to breed is first and foremost, as a cop, I always wanted another little side hustle, side business, so forth and so on. I was always searching for something, right? And all of a sudden, when I kind of discovered the ball python market is not what it was when I was a kid, right? It wasn't normals and albinos and pieds. Now it's all this shit we see behind me. I was like, I can turn that into like a little hobby and a business. It was perfect for me. I've been keeping reptiles since I was a kid, catching shit in Carmen's River. We've been over this. And because I discovered I could turn my hobby into a profitable business also and enjoy that, it's a fucking home run. But now that maybe we're not making as much money or the market's down, the market's flooded, you can still enjoy this hobby. Treat it for what it is, a hobby. If people can build their Corvettes and their hot rods or power lift or do all these other sorts of different hobbies, collect cards or comic books, so forth and so on, and not get a fucking dime out of it, we can do the same, right? You can just enjoy having your reptiles, enjoy the friends you meet. Some of I'm wedding planning now, which fucking sucks. But, and I noticed I have about 15 to 20 people I'm inviting that I consider close friends that I met in this industry, this hobby. So we can still love the hobby for what it is. It is a hobby. So how do you combat that? How do you combat the lull? Enjoy your hobby, right? Come in here, go in your reptile room, whether it's your basement, your room, in your living room, whatever the case may be. Enjoy it, hang out, love your animals, and eventually this market will bounce back. And if you can't stick around for a long time, you can't handle it, everyone's financial situation is different, by all means. And if anything, people that are enthusiasts and love reptiles, you should be semi-happy that a situation like this is going to weed out a lot of the people that maybe shouldn't be in this industry. Or the type of people that, let's say they breed an animal and they get a one gene animal and they clip its head off because they can't sell it quick enough, right? There's a lot of people in this hobby that do shit like that, guys. They breed for money, which I get it. I totally understand it. But there's animals behind me that are worth $20. And I have zero chance of me calling that animal unless something's wrong with it. I create it. Like, I got a male, normal het clown. The fuck am I going to do with that? Yep, feed his ass until somebody wants it. I give it away to somebody to get them into the industry, right, guys? So I'm in this because I love these animals. I love this. Try to make a couple extra dollars, but that's what we can do. Enjoy the hobby. Get back to the roots and start treating this like a hobby again. Then in the long run, it'll bounce back. We'll be better for it. We'll keep this thing moving. Listen, if you guys stayed along long enough for this, I appreciate it, guys. We are cranking over here. I love this stuff. I love this hobby. I love this industry. Thank you to everybody. And oh, by the way, where is it? Whoop. Shout out to Shane. Handled everything with dignity and class, like an absolute gentleman. And at the end of the day, guys, we're all reptile keepers. We are weird, fucked up people. And the only people that will understand us in this world are other reptile keepers. So let's be cool to each other. Right? That being said, guys, love you guys. Be safe. Watch your six.